Today's episode of Voiced is from r/entitled parents and is about a mother who tried to get her daughter my job because she thought I was chubby, and another entitled mom who tried to deny her dying son his wish. What do you think happened next? Subscribe if you enjoy.
Entitled mom tried to get her daughter my job because I'm overweight. This happened today, so I thought I'd share. I am a female and home from college. The stay-at-home order in my town is slowly being lifted, so some businesses are finally opening up. My parents require me to have a summer job. I'm blessed enough that I get to keep all the money I earn. My parents just like me to work to gain experience. This will be relevant later, but I'm not a skinny girl. I wouldn't consider myself large either. I'm 5'6" and weigh about 140 to 145 pounds right now and carry most of it in my hips and thighs. The freshman 15 did hit me hard though, as I used to be 120-ish. So today, after finishing my last online final, my dad called me. He told me that one of his friends who runs a company texted him that they were looking for females to work in the office, answering phones and stuff. I got excited because that's exactly what I wanted. So I put on a dress, printed a copy of my resume, and drove down. The ladies inside were super nice and asked me to fill out an application, so I sat down to do so. And this is where the entitled mom enters. Here's everyone involved. EM, entitled mom, e.g. entitled girl, female, probably 16 years old. P, me, desk lady 1, front desk. This woman is relatively thin, which will be relevant later. Desk lady 2, DL2, is a desk lady who works at a desk further back in the room. This woman is plus-sized, and her size will be relevant later. B is the boss of the business. We're in the South, which might be relevant, because typically for jobs like this, they are looking for a pretty face to sit behind the counter and talk to customers. This is unspoken, though. Yes, it's awful, but hey, I needed a job. So as I'm filling out an application, EM enters with EG. She announces that she's here about the opening and her daughter would like to apply. DL1 explains that she'll need to fill out an application and hands her one and a pen. They come sit in the lobby, right beside me, which I thought was weird, but I didn't say anything. Entitled mom, to me, are you here for the job as well? I ignored her and went up to ask desk lady 1 a question about the application. It was about how professional one of my references for babysitting was. When I returned and sat back down, entitled mom walked up to the desk. Does your daughter even really need to fill this out? It's protocol. Boss will look at all the applications and decide whom to call for an interview. Is he here? I'm sure if he could see my daughter, he'd know who he wanted to call. Haha! He is, but he isn't seeing visitors right now. How will he know who to hire if he doesn't know what the girls look like? DL1. Well, he will need to see their references and will make a few calls before he decides who to interview. No, my daughter is an aspiring model. She won the Insert Local pageant in 2019. He needs to see her to know she's the face he wants to see behind the counter interacting with customers. I'm not sure what you mean. This isn't a modeling job. Looks don't really matter. Oh, I know, but they do. And let's face it, boss isn't going to want. At this point, she leans in closer to DL1. A plump girl up here, is he? This whole time, entitled girl is smirking at me in glances as she fills out her application. This caught the attention of desk lady 2 as well as me, and we both looked up at this point. Ma'am, I'm not sure I understand what you mean. Oh, no disrespect intended. I just know boss personally and know he'd prefer a new pretty face around the office. Maybe I'm a little biased, but I think there's no question between my daughter and, well, this young lady, for example, me. No offense, honey, just trying to save you some time. At this point, I'm in tears. I don't know if it was rage or the sting of her insult, but either way, I was not going to let her see me cry. So I quickly got up and handed my application to desk lady 1 before trying to leave. DL2, a large sweetie, wait. You say you know the boss personally, right? Oh yes, we went to high school together. And you know him so well that you know he'd prefer a thin woman behind this desk? Well, I didn't say that, but I'd assume so. Dale, great. Well, I'm his wife, and I've worked behind this desk for almost 15 years now. And as you can see, I could probably drop a few pounds. And I take personal offense to what you're saying about my husband and this young lady. So I'd like you to wait in the car while your daughter fills out her application. EM and EG both stormed out at that point. EG took her application, so I don't know if she'll apply or not. But both women behind the counter told me that EM was a rude person and they'd vouch for me with the boss. So I'm hopeful that I got the job. You guys are so kind. A lot of you want to know if I got the job. Today, I went in for an interview and just got home from that. It went well, and I'm hoping for a call soon. I'll update you when I know. Hey guys. So I still haven't gotten a call or anything. I'm starting to think maybe they wanted somebody long-term and not just for the summer. Sorry to disappoint you all, but if they do call me, I'll be sure to update.
Wow, that was quite a story. It's amazing how some people can be so cruel and entitled, even in the most unexpected situations. But let's dive into another tale of entitlement and see how it unfolds. Next up, we have a story that takes us into the world of Dungeons and Dragons and a family torn apart by extreme beliefs. This time, the entitled parent is not just rude, but dangerously misguided. Let's see what happens when a dying teen's wish for some reading material turns into a battle for his freedom and dignity.
Entitled mom tries to deny her dying son his wish and tries to murder him because the books I got for him are satanic. Some backstory. I'm in a Dungeons & Dragons group with a couple of friends from nearby, and one of the members of the group was a kid who was about 15 years old. He's a really sweet kid, likes helping other people out, and he's a big fan of Dungeons & Dragons. He also has cancer in both of his lungs. He's from a religious family that basically forces him to act pure while he's in their sight. The mom is Westboro Baptist Church level rabid, while the dad is just a sensible person who just tries to get him to be a good kid. When he's out of sight of his parents, he just does normal teen stuff. Because of his mom, the only books he was allowed to own were Christian books and Bibles. He joined our group mainly as a way to escape his home life and his mom. A couple of weeks ago, the cancer in his lungs started to get to him, so he was taken to a hospital by his parents. He contacted me about this a day after he was taken to the hospital, stating that he wanted a monster manual as his last wish, stating that he was tired of reading the same things. I bought him the book from Barnes & Noble, but considering that he's a dying teen, I got him Volo's Guide to Monsters and Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes stacked on top of that. The next day, which was his birthday, he was still in the hospital, so I brought him the books as a gift. After he blew out the candles, we had cake and he started opening gifts. Mine was the first to be opened. Seeing what they were, he immediately got this enormous grin on his face and hugged me. Meanwhile, his mom stared down at the books with a look of pure disgust, with her husband staring at her with this wary look in his eyes. She picks up one of the books and relights one of the candles and holds the damn book over it to try and set it on fire. I manage to stop her and demand, "What the hell are you doing? He asked me to get those books, and I'm not going to let you take them away." His mom simply stared me down and said something along the lines of the books being sinful, satanic, and full of evil, and that her son had no business with them. I retorted and said that her son can read what he wants and that she shouldn't have to force him to be Christian. She starts getting red in the face and yelling at me about essentially forcing children to believe in God from a young age. I stated that I'm a Baptist, which I actually am, and say that faith in God is a matter between God and the individual. She turns red all over and actively starts to try and destroy the books, with me, my friend, and her husband trying to stop her. At one point, I shouted, "Would God want you to do this? To restrict your dying son's freedom of expression?" Right in her face. This just sets her completely ablaze. She tosses the books aside and starts trying to strangle her son, and her husband calls security immediately when he sees this. Security get there within about a minute of the two of us trying to pry her off of her son and drag her away, with her shouting that we're all catamites to the devil. Both her husband and my friend charge her with child abuse, assault, and attempted murder. The trial is still going on, and I'll try to update this post as the trial goes on. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much. Trial was almost a disaster. Me, him, and her husband all prosecuted against her. The moment she saw us, she tried to tackle us, shouting something about divine retribution, but the officers restrained her. During the whole thing, she kept pinning the blame on me and him. Needless to say, she was pronounced guilty of all 3 charges. The moment she heard this, she went crazy and tried to attack the judge, but officers tased her to the floor. Now she'll be serving for 20 years for the other 3 charges, with 10 more on top of assaulting a court official. To all who are wondering, my friend is fine. The cancer has been removed from his lungs.
Before I talk about today's posts, please consider subscribing to stay updated on our reactions and discussions. Wow, what a roller coaster of emotions. First off, the sheer audacity of that entitled mom trying to get her daughter the job by insulting you was just mind-blowing. I mean, who does that? And kudos to DL2 for standing up for you and putting EM in her place. It's heartbreaking to see such blatant body shaming, but it's inspiring to see how the community rallied around you with all those awards and kind words. And oh my goodness, the second post was just insane. The sheer cruelty of that mother trying to deny her dying son his wish and then attempting to destroy the books and even harm him is just beyond comprehension. I'm so glad that justice was served and that your friend is now cancer-free. It's a testament to the power of community support and standing up for what's right. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these posts in the comments below. Which story resonated with you more, or do you have any similar experiences to share? Let me know. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Voiced. If you enjoy daily, high-quality stories, please like and subscribe to show your support.